First strike. Commander Elena Torres stood at the helm of the HSS Defiant, watching the holographic display as it mapped the unexplored region of the Carina Arm. Humanity's first long-range exploration vessel carried enough scientific equipment to study a dozen solar systems and enough firepower to fight its way out of them if necessary. The ship's sleek design belied its strength, a lesson humanity had learned well over centuries of space exploration. Contact, Lieutenant Sarah Wong announced from the sensor station, her voice steady but tense. Multiple signatures at bearing 047, range 2 million kilometers. Configuration unknown. Elena straightened, her dark eyes fixed on the emerging data. Classification: definitely artificial. 7 vessels, arranged in a perfect heptagon. Energy readings are massive, Commander. They're putting out more power than our entire Sol defense fleet. The bridge crew maintained their composure, but Elena felt the shift in atmosphere. Humanity had encountered alien life before, bacterial samples on Mars, primitive aquatic creatures on Europa, but never an advanced civilization. They had prepared for this moment for generations. Status of our stealth systems: fully operational, Chief Engineer Marcus Chen reported. But with those energy readings, they might have detection capabilities we haven't encountered before. Elena nodded. The Defiant's quantum stealth technology could bend light and mask emissions, but against truly advanced aliens, it might be as effective as hiding behind a sheet of glass. They're moving, Wong reported. Formation is breaking into 3 groups. They're surrounding us. Tactical analysis. Their weapon systems appear to be primarily based on directed energy, plasma cannons, particle beams. No signs of kinetic weapons or missile systems. Their hulls are generating some kind of field effect we can't penetrate. Elena allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had abandoned pure energy weapons centuries ago, finding them too easy to defend against. The aliens might be more technologically advanced, but they had fallen into the same trap many human civilizations had, assuming that newer always meant better. A signal penetrated their communications array, resolving into a series of mathematical sequences that their AI quickly decoded into basic language protocols. The message was clear. Unknown vessel, you have entered protected space. Submit to immediate boarding and inspection or face destruction. They're charging weapons, Wong reported calmly. Energy buildup suggests they're preparing to fire. Elena took a deep breath. First contact scenarios had been drilled into every commander, but now theory would meet reality. Send them our first contact package. Language databases, cultural overview, scientific cooperation protocols, and along with it, send this message. This is Commander Elena Torres of the human spaceship Defiant. We are an exploration vessel operating under Earth authority. We welcome peaceful contact, but will not submit to boarding. Any hostile action will be met with appropriate force. The alien vessels continued their approach, their sleek hulls gleaming with an otherworldly iridescence. Their response came quickly. Primitive vessels are not permitted to make demands. Submit or be destroyed. Elena's expression hardened. Well, we tried diplomacy. Battle stations. Deploy countermeasures. Let's show them why humans still believe in bullets. The Defiant's outer hull shifted as armor plates realigned and weapon ports opened. Railgun batteries extended from concealed housings, while missile tubes emerged from what had appeared to be sensor arrays. The ship's defensive systems activated, creating layers of magnetic fields and point defense networks. The aliens fired first, brilliant beams of plasma that could have vaporized a small moon. But the Defiant was already moving, its engines pushing it through maneuvers that seemed to defy physics. The plasma beams found only empty space. Target their lead vessel, Elena commanded. Standard defensive spread. Let's test their shields. The Defiant's rail guns roared silently in space, sending clouds of hypervelocity tungsten flechettes toward the alien ships. Their energy shields flared brilliantly, and failed. The flechettes tore through their outer hull, leaving gaping wounds in their seemingly impervious armor. The alien formation broke immediately, their confident attack dissolving into chaos. They hadn't expected physical projectiles. Their advanced shields were calibrated for energy weapons, not chunks of accelerated metal. "They're regrouping," Wong reported. "Energy signatures suggest they're adapting their shields, but they can't maintain the same coverage against both energy and kinetic impacts, not without sacrificing power to their weapons." Elena nodded. "Send another message. We repeat our offer of peaceful contact. Your technology is impressive, but you've fallen into the trap of assuming advanced means superior. Humanity learned long ago that true advancement means keeping what works alongside what's new. Shall we try diplomacy again?" The alien vessels held position, their weapons powered down but ready. After what seemed like an eternity, a new message arrived. "Your species interests us. You are primitive, yet you think differently. Perhaps we should talk." Elena smiled. First contact hadn't gone exactly as planned, but they had achieved their objective. Peaceful communication, even if they had to demonstrate strength first. As negotiations began, she couldn't help but think that this was humanity's greatest strength. Not their weapons or technology, but their ability to adapt, to combine the old with the new, and to turn potential enemies into allies. The Defiant had lived up to its name, and in doing so, had opened a new chapter in human history. The art of war. The alien flagship's command center was a marvel of biotechnology. Living crystals pulsed with data streams, while gravity-defying displays showed real-time tactical information. High Admiral Zarkax of the Centauri Collective stood before the main viewport, all four of his eyes fixed on the human vessel. "Fascinating," he murmured, watching the Defiant's systems reconfigure themselves. Where their ships were elegant and unchanging, the human vessel seemed to constantly adapt, its hull shifting like liquid metal. "They've turned disadvantage into strength." His science director, Valtex, manipulated a series of floating symbols. "Their technological development path is unusual. Most species progress from kinetic to energy weapons, from physical armor to energy shields. These humans..." She paused, mandibles clicking in thought. "They've retained earlier technologies, perfecting them alongside new developments. Show me their weapon systems again." The display shifted, highlighting the Defiant's various offensive capabilities. Railed guns that could accelerate projectiles to near-relativistic speeds. Missile systems with warheads containing everything from conventional explosives to exotic matter. Point defense networks that could track and engage targets moving faster than light. "Their ship is a contradiction," Valtex continued. "Advanced quantum computers alongside mechanical backup systems. Energy shields protecting layers of unknown vessels," reported Lieutenant Wong's voice through Torres's comm. "Configuration matches no known designs. Energy signatures are enormous." The tactical display showed dozens of ships emerging from FTL travel. Their design was organic, almost predatory, and they were heading straight for the station. "The swarm," Zarkax hissed. "We've encountered them before. They consume everything in their path. Technology, resources, life itself." Torres studied the tactical data. "Their ships are biological. Yes, immune to most energy weapons. Their neural networks adapt to any attack pattern. We use more than once. Then let's use every pattern at once." Torres turned to face the alien admiral. "You have superior energy weapons. We have kinetic weapons they've never encountered. Apart, we might hold them off. Together." Zarkax's mandibles clicked in what Torres's translator identified as agreement. "An alliance against the greatest threat our sector has ever faced. With a species we just met in battle. The enemy of my enemy is my friend," Torres quoted. An old human saying. "Besides, I'd rather fight alongside worthy opponents than against them." As they rushed back to their respective ships, Zarkax found himself reevaluating everything he thought he knew about advanced civilizations. These humans, with their hybrid technology and adaptive strategies, might just be the perfect allies against an enemy that had long seemed invincible. The Defiant and the Centauri vessels moved into formation, their crews already developing combined tactics. Energy weapons would open holes in the swarm's biological armor, while kinetic weapons would tear through the exposed flesh beneath. Point defense systems would cover each other's blind spots, and complementary shield frequencies would create overlapping protection. As the first wave of swarm ships approached, Torres opened a channel to all vessels. Remember, unpredictability is our advantage. They adapt to patterns, so let's not give them any. Random weapon sequences, varying shield frequencies, constant position changes. Hit them with everything we've got, and keep them guessing. The battle was about to begin, and with it, a new chapter in both human and Centauri history. Two civilizations, brought together by conflict, now stood united against a greater threat. It was time to show the swarm why diversity, in technology, in tactics and thinking, was the greatest strength of all. Strength in diversity. Space erupted in a symphony of destruction as the combined human-Centauri fleet engaged the swarm. The biological ships moved like a single organism, their chitinous hulls reflecting the light of weapons fire in sickly greens and purples. First wave incoming. Lieutenant Wang reported from the Defiant's tactical station. Their primary ships are adapting to the Centauri energy weapons already. Commander Torres watched as the swarm vessels developed new layers of armor in real time, their biological hulls evolving to resist the devastating plasma beams. But they hadn't counted on human ingenuity. Execute Maneuver Delta, Torres ordered. All ships, random weapons rotation. Don't give them time to adapt to any single attack pattern. The Defiant's rail guns roared to life, sending tungsten shells through the holes created by Centauri energy weapons. The biological ships reeled, their adaptive armor useless against the combination of attacks. On her tactical display, Torres watched Admiral Zarkax's ships execute perfect formation changes, their energy weapons creating opportunities for the human vessel's kinetic strikes. Commander, Chief Engineer Chen called from engineering. I've been analyzing their biological structures. Their neural networks, they're similar to Earth's coral reefs. They operate on chemical signals. Torres's eyes lit up. And chemical signals can be disrupted. Contact Admiral Zarkax. I have an idea. The Centauri flagship's response was immediate. Speak quickly, Commander. Our forward shields are failing. Your ships can generate electromagnetic pulses, correct? If we modify them to match the frequency of their neural networks, we could disrupt their coordination. Zarkax finished. But the pulse would affect our ships as well. Not ours, Torres smiled. Another advantage of keeping old technology. Our backup systems are hardened against EMP. We can protect your critical systems too. The plan came together with remarkable speed. Human engineering teams transferred across to Centauri vessels, installing makeshift EMP shielding around vital systems. Meanwhile, the Centauri's advanced energy projectors were recalibrated to generate precisely targeted electromagnetic pulses. The swarm pressed their attack, seemingly confident in their ability to adapt to anything thrown at them. Their ships had developed multiple layers of armor, each designed to counter a specific weapon type. But they had never encountered an enemy that could think like humans, one that would deliberately use a weapon that affected their own systems just to gain an advantage. All ships in position, Wang reported. Centauri vessels report ready. Torres took a deep breath. Execute. The electromagnetic pulse rippled across space, invisible but devastating. The swarm ships suddenly lost coordination, their perfect formations dissolving into chaos. Some collided with each other, while others fired wildly into space. Now, Torres ordered. All ships, concentrated fire. The combined fleet struck with everything they had. Rail guns tore through confused swarm vessels, while Centauri energy weapons found vulnerable spots in their disorganized defenses. Within minutes, the first wave of the swarm had been reduced to drifting debris. But victory celebrations were premature. Long-range sensors detected more swarm ships emerging from FTL, hundreds of them. They're adapting, Wong warned. New ships are showing signs of EMP shielding. Admiral Zarkax's voice crackled over the comm. Commander Torres, my science team reports these new vessels have significantly different biological structures. Our previous strategy may not be effective. Torres nodded grimly. Then we'll need to think of something else. That's what humans do best. She turned to her crew. Ideas. Chen spoke up first. The debris field from the destroyed ships. Their biological material is still active, still trying to regenerate. If we could find a way to turn it against them. Like introducing a virus to their system, Wong added. The Centauri's energy weapons could disperse it. Torres smiled. This was humanity's greatest strength. Not their weapons or technology, but their ability to think creatively, to find solutions where none seemed to exist. She opened a channel to Zarkax. Admiral, how do you feel about a little biological warfare? As the second wave of swarm ships approached, humans and Centauri worked frantically to implement their new plan. The debris from their fallen comrades would become a weapon against them, a poetic justice that wasn't lost on either species. The battle was far from over, but something unprecedented had been born in the crucible of combat. Humans and Centauri, two species that had been on the brink of war just hours ago, were now seamlessly combining their strengths. Their differences, rather than being a source of conflict, had become their greatest advantage. As Torres watched her crew work alongside their new allies, she realized they were witnessing the birth of something greater than either civilization had imagined. The swarm had intended to destroy them, but had instead catalyzed an alliance that would reshape this sector of space forever. New Horizons. The trading station's observation deck offered a stunning view of the aftermath. Debris from swarm vessels drifted like metallic snow against the gas giant's swirling atmosphere, while repair drones from both fleets worked to heal the battle damage. Commander Elena Torres stood beside Admiral Zarkax, both leaders watching their crews work together with increasing efficiency. Human engineers had already begun adapting Centauri energy systems for greater stability, while Centauri scientists studied human kinetic weapon designs with barely concealed excitement. Your species continues to surprise us, Zarkax said, his translator conveying a tone of respectful admiration. We've fought the swarm across 3 sectors, yet never conceived of using their own biological material against them. Sometimes the best solutions come from thinking like your enemy, Torres replied. Humanity learned that lesson through countless conflicts on Earth. Every victory teaches you something, but defeats teach you more. The Admiral's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. A gesture Torres had learned indicated deep thought. We believed we had reached the pinnacle of technological advancement. Energy weapons, neural interfaces, quantum computing. Yet your primitive kinetic weapons proved just as effective, perhaps more so. Technology isn't always about moving forward, Torres said, gesturing to where a human technician was showing a Centauri engineer how to maintain a mechanical backup system. Sometimes it's about looking sideways or even backward. Every tool has its use. Their conversation was interrupted by Chief Engineer Chen's arrival. His environment suit was covered in the bioluminescent fluid that Centauri ships used for power transmission, but his excitement was evident. Commander, Admiral, you need to see this. He projected a hologram showing the merged systems they'd developed during the battle. The swarm's attack forced us to combine technologies we never would have considered compatible. The results are extraordinary. The display showed how human mechanical systems have been integrated with Centauri biological computers, creating hybrid technology that was more resilient than either original design. Energy weapons have been modified to work in concert with kinetic projectiles, while defensive systems combine physical armor with adaptive energy fields. This is more than just cooperation, Chen continued. We're creating entirely new technological paths. The Centauri's biological computers can process data faster than anything we've built, but our mechanical systems provide redundancy they never considered. Together, we're stronger than either of us alone. Torres finished. Admiral, I believe this goes beyond just defeating the swarm. We have an opportunity here. Zarkax moved closer to the hologram, studying the hybrid designs. The collective has always believed in the superiority of pure energy-based technology. Yet in one battle, your species has shown us alternatives we never imagined. Our council will want to know more. And Earth's governments will be very interested in your biological computing, Torres replied. But more than that, we've proven that different approaches can complement each other. Imagine what we could accomplish with a formal alliance. The Admiral's color-shifting skin rippled with what Torres now recognized as excitement. You propose more than just a military partnership. Much more. Technology exchange, cultural understanding, joint exploration. Torres smiled. The swarm thought they were attacking two separate civilizations. Instead, they've helped forge something new. As if to emphasize her point, alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Lieutenant Wang's voice came through both their communication systems simultaneously. Commander, Admiral, long-range sensors are detecting massive quantum fluctuations. Something's coming through subspace, and it's bigger than anything we've seen. Torres and Zarkax shared a look that transcended species. Without words, they both knew. The swarm they'd fought was just a scouting party. The real test was yet to come. Your ships have taken damage, Zarkax noted. The collective can have reinforcements here within 2 days. The Defiant's self-repair systems are already adapting your biotechnology, Torres countered. We'll be combat-ready in hours, and I already sent a quantum message to Earth. Our heavy cruisers are en route. The Admiral's mandibles clicked in what Torres now knew was amusement. Perhaps we should show these swarm creatures what a true alliance can accomplish. Your bullets, our beams, and something entirely new between them. As they hurried to their respective ships, Torres couldn't help but feel a sense of optimism despite the looming threat. The swarm had intended to destroy them, but had instead catalyzed something unprecedented. An alliance that combined the best of both civilizations. Whatever came through that subspace rift would face not just humans or Centauri, but a unified force that was rapidly becoming greater than the sum of its parts. Unity. The subspace rift, torn in the fabric of space-time, dwarfed anything human or Centauri sensors had ever recorded. From its swirling depths emerged the true face of the swarm. A vast living fleet that seemed to stretch forever, each vessel larger than the last, all connected by strands of biological material that pulsed with malevolent purpose. Commander Torres stood on the Defiance bridge, now modified with a combination of human and Centauri technology. The neural interface she wore, a gift from Admiral Zarkax, allowed her to feel her ship's systems as extensions of her own body, while maintaining the tactical awareness that human training had ingrained in her. All ships report ready, Lieutenant Wang announced, her station now featuring both holographic displays and traditional screens. Earth's battle group will arrive in 17 minutes, Centauri reinforcements in 22. The swarm isn't waiting, Chief Engineer Chen reported from his hybrid control center. They're advancing in attack formation, but there's something different about these ships. They're not just bigger, they're evolving as we watch. Torres nodded grimly. They've learned from their scouts. They won't fall for the same tricks twice. She opened a channel to Zarkax's flagship. Admiral, I believe it's time to show them our new tricks. The combined fleet had spent every available moment preparing for this battle. Human ingenuity and Centauri precision had merged to create weapons and defenses unlike anything either civilization had fielded before. Railed guns modified with biological targeting systems that could predict enemy movements. Energy weapons synchronized with kinetic strikes to create devastating combination attacks. Shields that adapted like living organisms while maintaining the reliability of mechanical systems. The swarm struck first, their weapons more powerful than anything their scouts had wielded. Space itself seemed to warp around their biological weapons, but the defended fleet held firm. Where pure energy shields would have failed, layered defenses held. Where biological computers would have been overwhelmed, mechanical backups maintained control. "They're trying to adapt to our defenses," Wong reported. "But they can't predict which system we'll use next. The randomization protocols are working." Torres smiled. The swarm's greatest strength, their ability to adapt to any attack pattern, had become their weakness. By combining human unpredictability with Centauri precision, they'd created a defense that couldn't be adapted to because it never repeated itself. "Begin Phase 2, Torres ordered. "All ships, execute Operation Chimera." The fleet's formation shifted, human and Centauri vessels moving in perfect synchronization. From their weapons bays launched a new kind of weapon, missiles containing a hybrid of human explosives and Centauri biological computers. Each warhead was essentially a tiny, independent AI, capable of adapting its attack pattern until it found a weakness. The swarm's defenses, designed to counter either biological or technological threats, found themselves facing something that was both and neither. The missiles struck home, their hybrid payloads tearing gaps in the massive fleet's formation. "Earth Battle Group arriving," Wong announced as space lit up with new jump points. Centauri reinforcements right behind them. The arrival of fresh ships turned the tide. Human heavy cruisers, their designs already incorporating Centauri innovations, laid down devastating barrages, while Centauri dreadnoughts wielded weapons reverse-engineered from human designs. Each species had learned from the other, and their combined strength was greater than anyone had imagined possible. The swarm, for the first time in their long history of conquest, found themselves facing an enemy they couldn't adapt to, couldn't predict, and couldn't overwhelm. Their perfectly evolved weapons and defenses meant nothing against an alliance that refused to play by the rules of conventional warfare. "They're breaking formation," Wong reported with barely contained excitement. Multiple ships showing signs of severe system failure. They're retreating." The subspace rift flared as the swarm fled back through it, their mighty fleet reduced to less than half its original size. As the rift collapsed behind them, a cheer went up across all frequencies. Human and Centauri voices united in victory. Admiral Zarkax's image appeared on the Defiant's main screen. "It seems, Commander, that we have made history today. Never before has the swarm been defeated so decisively." "We've done more than that, Admiral," Torres replied. "We've proven that strength doesn't come from technological superiority or pure biological advancement. It comes from diversity, from combining different approaches, different philosophies, different ways of thinking." Indeed, the Admiral's color-shifting skin rippled with what Torres now recognized as joy. "The Collective's Council has already voted. We wish to propose a formal alliance with Earth, not just for defense, but for exploration, research, cultural exchange. Together, we could reshape this sector of the galaxy." Torres looked around her bridge, where humans and Centauri worked side by side, their differences forgotten in the heat of battle. Their victory over the swarm was impressive, but it was what came next that truly mattered. "I think," she said with a smile, "this is the beginning of something extraordinary." As the combined fleet began rescue and repair operations, Torres couldn't help but reflect on how far they'd come. A chance encounter between two species had led to conflict, then cooperation, and finally to genuine understanding. The swarm had meant to destroy them, but had instead forced them to overcome their differences and forge something new, an alliance that would change the course of both their civilizations forever. In the end, humanity's greatest strength hadn't been their weapons or their technology, but their ability to adapt, to learn, and to find common ground with those who seemed different. It was a lesson that would serve them well as they ventured further into the unknown, not alone, but with allies who complemented their strengths and shared their vision of a better future.